When the camera comes on, I'm on cue. My makeup so beat, I'm on too. She slays every time on cue.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for clicking on this video to watch it. This is my first video alone. I only did, I think, 2 more before this. So I'm very excited and nervous at the same time. But do like the video, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to leave it below in the comment box. A little bit about the look that we're doing today is something natural and neutral. This is like my everyday makeup look. This is like the basics to any other makeup look. Like if I wanted to do something dramatic, I would use the exact same steps in this video, just a little bit more added to it. So you can always come back to this video just to kind of refresh and to go over and to study a little bit more, because I'm talking a lot in it and I'm telling you a lot of my techniques, and I'm telling you also why I use the techniques that I use. It's been very helpful for me. Also, I do one-on-one training with my clients, and it's been very helpful for them. Now, I'm going to let you know, when you first try this look or any makeup look, you will not get it the first time. So do not get frustrated, because it took me time after time after time to get the perfected look that I like. So definitely watch the video. If you have to watch it multiple times, watch it over and over again and just practice. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the video. First, I'm going to start off with my brows, because I like to do the eyes first, and if I have any problems with shadows falling out anywhere, I can easily take a wipe and wipe it and clean it, and then start doing my foundation. With my brows, I'm going to actually use the eyeshadow, which is going to be from the Morph palette, and what I'm going to use is a dark brown eyeshadow that's going to fill in my brows, probably like a shade darker than the color of my hair. So it's this one here. What I start off by doing is wetting my angle brush. This is a MAC 266 brush. I'm going to wet it just a little bit with Fix Plus just to dampen it. I mean, if you don't have Fix Plus, you can definitely use water. Same thing. Just put a little bit on both sides of the brush, and as you can tell, I'm lightly filling it in, because I don't want it to be too dark or too heavy, and I'd rather put just a little bit of product and have to add in, versus putting too much product and having to break it down. I hate that. So I just use a little bit at a time and just lightly brush it in. I could have used a brow pencil, but sometimes I like to use less products, as less as possible. I mean, I can have a brow pencil, but I mean, if I have a dark brown eyeshadow that I can use on the eyes, why not use that for my brows as well? Now what I'm going to do is a technique called a concealer brow. And what that is when you use a concealer, maybe 1 or 2 shades lighter than your skin tone, and you trace what you've just filled in. And what it does is it kind of sharpens the brow and help it to stand out a little bit more. What I'm going to use is LA Girl Pro Conceal. I also use this as my highlighting concealer for under the eye as well. I'm going to use this to define my brow. I'm going to use another 266 brush, angle brush from MAC. It doesn't have to be one from there, but just something that's very, you know, thin and light and give you an easy application. I'm going to put a little concealer on both sides. When I started, I'm not going to start at the very beginning of the brow, but just a little bit further back, because even though it's going to give a little dramatic effect, I don't want it to be too dramatic. I still want it to look natural. Now I'm going to take a flat brush, something like this. It's a synthetic hair brush. It's from MAC. This is also one of my babies that I bedazzled. My absolute favorite thing to do. I'm just going to take the edges of it and blend it in. I want to make sure that it's evenly blended over the whole brow. Well, under the whole brow. Now I'm going to take my my LA Girl Pro Conceal in the color Toffee, which is more of my skin tone. And I'm going to put a little bit on the same brush and go into the inner corner of my eye. Because a lot of times when we do the eyeshadow and we do all of the face, it's like, okay, how do I get in here to blend it here? You blend first. And I'm also going to take the little excess off the brush and kind of blend a little bit more at the end of my highlight under the brow. Okay, see, just a little bit more blended, and as I blend it more, it looks more natural. Next, I'm going to take my buffer color, and what this is a color that's probably one shade darker than my skin tone, or very close to it. I'm also going to use the same Morphe palette, I think, which is the 35W. I find it works for a lot of skin tones, and it has like every color of the natural browns and mattes. I'm going to use, see if that focus, this one here. It has a little orange tint to it, but it's going to give a nice transition on my eye. I'm going to use my MAC 224 brush. Put a little bit on there and windshield wiper motion in the middle, in my crease. What that does is it's going to give me a nice fade from the lid to the brow bone. A nice transition. And it also helps blend my highlight as well a little bit more. Next, I'm going to do my liquid eyeliner. You can use gel with the same angle brush that I use to do, with the same type of angle brush that I use to do the brows and the concealer with. But I'm going to use my liquid liner. This is just a basic one from like the dollar store or something like that. I don't know where it comes from, but I like it because it's really, really black. It lasts long, and it has that little small, very, very thin brush tip. I'm going to start in my inner corner and make light strokes towards the end of my eye. A lot of times people say that they don't have a steady hand. It's hard for them to do liquid liner, but the trick is, and I tell everybody, but they never believe me, the trick is hold your breath. As you hold your breath, your hand becomes more steady. I do it all the time. So after you got that line to the end of your eye, you can leave it like that. A lot of times people want a wing liner. Draw your line and then connect it from here to the rest of the line. Going that way. And now you have a wing liner that gives you more of a cat eye effect. I'm going to use the color Slate in my Waterline. This is Morph's gel liner. And I'm going to use the same angle brush, the 266 from MAC, and draw in my waterline. Like, it takes a few seconds to dry, just enough for you to blend it or smudge it out or something like that. So I really, really love this Morph gel liner. Also, if you find yourself watering a little bit or you feel some tears coming out, take deep breath. It works every time. Okay, now it's time for the lashes. With this look, you don't have to do lashes. You can just use mascara or you can do a natural lash. These lashes, I think, they're just a generic brand from the beauty store. I think it's Ice Lashes. You see that they're very full and they're a little extra long. But that's how I like my lashes. What I'm going to use to apply them are some tweezers. And I just pinch them in the middle. And what I'm going to do is apply a thin line, use the back of a brush, and apply a thin line of latex glue. I'm going to start by just placing it right in the middle on top of my lashes, on top of my lash line. Then I go to the end, lay that down. And I like how it sticks when I put it there. It's done to stick. Probably have to press them just a little bit and make sure they're secure, and then you can kind of bend them down or up if need be, just so they can give you the perfect effect. These lashes are reusable. I used them probably twice before, and I think that I can get at least 10 wearings out of them. Okay, now for applying my foundation. Normally I use MAC Studio Fix Fluid on myself and my clients. I also use Mary Kay sometimes, and what is the other one? AJ Crimson Cream Palette. I absolutely love it. So that's what's normally in my kit. I wanted to try a drugstore foundation, and I chose Revlon Color Stay 24 Hour. Now I've been using it for the past 2 weeks. I love it. Reason being is because it's light. It lasts all day. I don't have a problem with it coming off. The only problem I have is that the shades are not exactly, well, I can't find a shade that match me perfectly. So I use one that's a little bit darker. I use the color, what is it? I think it's 400 Caramel. It works pretty good because once I highlight, it gives me a perfect shade and everything. So you know, it works. It's fine, and I love it. So I'm going to use a MAC brush. Of course, I bedazzled this one as well, so I can't tell you exactly what color, what number this one is. But any brush like this, I like to buff my foundation on versus wiping it on. So this is the one that I use. I live in Louisiana, so it's kind of humid outside, and so if I'm putting on my makeup because I'm going somewhere, I'm going out, I may be going to work, I do not, and don't punish me for this, I do not use moisturizer and I do not use primer. But I find that it makes my makeup last so much longer because it's so humid, and it's like all that stuff on, it just doesn't work. And sometimes with my clients in the shop, I don't use moisturizer and primer on them, but they always tell, I don't tell them that, but they always tell me how long their makeup lasts, and they're like, what do you use, what do you use? And it's not really what I use, it's what I don't use. But I do moisturize every night, so you know, it does pretty good. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to use my LA Girl Pro Conceal that I use for under my brow. as my brow highlight. I'm going to use that as well for my concealer under eye, and I'm going to use it as a highlight. I'm going to use my Beauty Blender sponge to apply it. I find that it blends, it helps it blend a little bit easier. I like to put a good bit so I can make sure that it's covered well, and I trust my sponge because I know that it's going to take the excess off as I keep pressing. This one, I don't remember where I got it from, but I love it because it has that pointed tip to it and it helps fit perfectly under my eye. I'm going to use something that's maybe like 3 shades lighter than my skin tone. You can use 1 to 2 shades lighter depending on how dramatic you want it. Okay, those are the places that I highlight directly down my nose, the bridge of my nose, right under my eyes, my cupid's bow, and my chin. I just leave it there because I don't want anything too dramatic, but it's still going to give me that highlighted and contoured effect, which is going to be perfect for my face. It will be definitely perfect for your face as well. Next, what I'm going to do is my contour. What I use to contour, and I use it for a lot of people. I use a powder. It works well with different skin tones. It is Blunt by MAC. It's a MAC blush, but it's called Blunt, and it is a perfect contour. I'm going to start from the back. If you can see, sorry, I'm missing one of my lights on that side. I'm waiting for a bulb to come in. This is a brush from Morphe that I'm going to use. It's the E20 brush. I find this works well because I can also contour my nose with it. I start from the back. Reason being is because if I have too much product, I want it to be heavier here, and I want it to fade lightly towards my cheeks and the front of my face. Circular motion a little bit. Sometimes I use a cream. For darker skin tones, I would use AJ Crimson cream palette, which works perfect. So for lighter skin tones, I would use Blunt, but if it's too light, I will go in and use my Mineralized Skin Finish by MAC. Now for my highlighting powder, I'm going to use MAC's White Translucent powder because I think it gives me personally the highlighted effect that I really want. You have to be careful when using this translucent powder because sometimes, especially on my skin tone and darker skin tones, it can come off ashy or like a grayish tone. Lightly press it underneath my eyes to set my concealer / highlight. And when doing your makeup, look directly straight head on in the mirror and measure everything. Make sure, you know, the blush is even, make sure your brows are even. Small blush brush. Yes, it's by MAC, and I'm going to use that to lightly blend. So definitely use your eyes as much as possible and begin to trust your eye. CoverGirl in Soft Honey, and I like it because it's light, it's sheer, and it does not change. And what I do is I use a big powder brush, fluffy brush. Now I'm going to put on my mascara. Now for the lips. It's a matte lipstick by a beauty store brand called Ruby Kiss. I think I want to do a nude today because this look here, it's so nude, and I'm using so many naturals that I want to keep the lip natural as well.